Live from Drzonków, this is Modern Pentathlon Under 24 Junior European Championships. Today's men's final, and my name is Wojciech Nowakowski. I will commentate for you now the riding event, the third event of today's men's individual competition, which is led after swimming and fencing by the Ukrainian Kirim Shekmametyev, who was the best in the fencing with 29 victories in the ranking round and a loss in the bonus round, which was won by another Ukrainian, Hordy Bereznyakov, who is now taking the fourth place, behind another Ukrainian, Vladislav Chekan, and the Hungarian Bence Kardos, the two fastest swimmers of today, as Chekan had the result of 2:00.45, and Kardos was 0.08 second behind him. Which in fact meant 1 point of difference in swimming between them, and that 1 point was held after the fencing, as both of them had 23 victories in the ranking round, and both had one victory in the bonus round. So that's the podium: Shekmametyev, Chekan, and Kardosh, with Bereznyakov taking the fourth place. The difference between the leader, Kirim Shekmametyev, and his teammate, but also the rival today, Vladislav Chekan, is from 573 points to 549, which is 24 points of difference. But in the next positions, we will have the riding event in a while, as the classification is not very strong differences between the second place and the following ones, with Ukrainians leading also in the team competition, as this is the battle between Ukraine, Poland, and Turkey only, the only teams having fourth place, four athletes in the team, and this is one of the Turkish athletes, the one classified last after swimming and fencing. This is Yunus Çalışkan on the horse Kakan. Kakan was the horse who had two clear rides yesterday, twice 300 points by Kshenkova and Boychenyuk. Today Kakan will have only this one ride, as we have the odd number of athletes. We've got 19 athletes from the 7 nations in the men's competition. The first round will have 10 rides, and the second round only 9, so Kakan, whom we see now under Yunus Çalışkan, will be riding only once. And he starts with the clear on the first obstacle and on the second, which was making some problems yesterday for the women competing here in Drzonków for the Under 24 Junior European Championships in Modern Pentathlon. And now you can see the obstacle number 4, which is jumped twice during the parkour by each rider, as it's also the obstacle number 10, so the final obstacle for this parkour. And now we got the obstacle number 6, which is the double obstacle, with a very close for the B part of that double obstacle, but managed to clear it without the knockdown, as well as the 7th obstacle, the green oxer, and right in the middle of the parkour. And now quite an easy part with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 fillet, which was too much, as we can see. It was very close, but managed to finish it without the knockdown. And now we have the final jump on that obstacle number 10 with 1 minute and 18 seconds, 1 second within the time limit. It's 1 minute 19 the time limit, as there is no obstacle penalties. We've got 300 points, so Kakan is keeping his results with the perfect rides only during this competition. Twice yesterday, and in his one and only ride today, there's another 300 points for Çalışkan. And now we are waiting for another athlete, and is this will not be Ugnius Kabelinskas, as far as I see he has withdrawn from the horse riding event. So the next I think we can see Kabelinskas now on the start list yet, but he seems to have resigned from that ride. And once more, that's the bad luck for Dark Diamond, the mare who was drawn yesterday to Lara Abbey, the Swiss athlete, but also withdrew from that horse riding event. And as that was also the case, which is today for Kakan, having only one ride scheduled for yesterday. Dark Diamond, we haven't seen her riding under the athlete from Switzerland, so we cannot compare her to anything. And today, that's another bad luck for Dark Diamond, withdrawn after before the start of Ugnius Kabelinskas. And now we are sure of that. We have the next athlete on the start list called, so we are waiting for Filip Olejnik, the host country's representative on horse Harris. Harris, the grey gelding, who had 2 knockdowns yesterday under Elżbieta Adomaityte and 1 knockdown under Anna Jurt from Switzerland. So quite a regular horse for this competition. As we see, it was not a much problematic parkour with only 1 elimination and one a little bit worse result of 222 points by Medea Gineitite on Lilienthal. And we will see how the Lilienthal, the youngest horse in the field for that competition, will manage to recover. He will be ridden today by Doranus Retoglu from Turkey in the first round, and in the second round by Hordy Beresnyakov from Ukraine, so our winner from the fencing bonus round. After yesterday's competition, as he was eliminated and having quite a bad result in the first round, he was tested once more after the competition, and he had a totally clear ride within the time limits. So it seems that the horse is doing quite well, and just the athletes need to be more careful while learning how to ride this horse. With not starting Kabelinskas, we of course have a little bit of break, as the schedule for horse riding is strict, as they need as the rules of modern pentathlon give them a possibility to ride to mount 20 minutes before and have a warm-up on him to learn the drone horse. But this time has already finished for Filip Olejnik, the representative of the host country, as well as the host club of ZKS Drzonków. So we have Filip Olejnik knowing the riding hall where he's surely training usually here at the club, but of course the parkour is built differently for every competition, and this one might be a little bit of unknown for Olejnik, but of course he was allowed to make a walk before the competition. He of course have seen the yesterday's women's competition, so he knows quite well how to the knockdown on the obstacle number 4. We've got 7 obstacle penalties, and that's 293 points with total points of 739, so it's 9 points of advantage over Yunus Chaliskan. But of course we've got 16 more athletes to go with within the field of today's championships, and the next one is the Lithuanian Titas Puronas riding horse Barbosa. So the dark mare who had two knockdowns overall. It was 1 knockdown for Trojanova and 1 for Rita Erdush in yesterday's women's competition for Barbosa, so I think it's not a very hard horse. In the second round it will be driven by Kamil Kasperczak, so the host country's representative, bronze medalist from the Youth Olympic Games. in Buenos Aires, but so far we have Titas Puronas, Lithuanian vice champion from this year's national championship, where he lost, of course, to the multiple world championship medalist Justinas Kinderis, who is, of course, the leader of the Lithuanian team for many years, and now Puronas is seems to be his successor after Kinderis finishes his career, but so far there's a lot of time for Puronas to learn, as he's still a Youth A athlete, of course the Youth A champion of Lithuania as well. And we can see that despite his quite young age, Puronas is doing quite well in that parkour, even that quite a tight turn for the obstacle number 5 finished with a success. And as you can see, he's still with the clear right, and now preparing for the jump number 8. Also very not a full turn before that jump, but here is that long straight before number 9 to make any correction needed for the line before the jump. And also within the time with 1 minute 7 seconds. That means we've got another 300 today, after the one by Yunus Chaliskan. Titas Puronskas with 300 points is of course leading, having 777, so 3 sevens for Puronas. Some people say that 7 is the magical lucky number, so maybe it will bring him luck. Surely he had the luck in the riding after those tight turns before jumps on the obstacle 5 and 8. And it seems that maybe it will bring him also luck in the following competitions, in the following events, which is of course the laser run, and the final event of today's competition. But now we've got another rider on the parkour. It's Bugra Ünal from Turkey on horse Fala. Yesterday that horse was ridden by 2 host countries representatives from 2 Poles, Wiktoria Wierzba having just 1 knockdown and Ewa Pedyszewska with 3 knockdowns. So the horse is quite an unknown for the athletes, as we had yesterday, the riders with a little less of experience, or they maybe not so good riders, but we've got quite a good results overall within these competitions. So I think these are well prepared horse, and we can see that Fala is going quite well today as well. In the next round she will be ridden by Łukasz Gutkowski, so another Pole on the back of Fala during this competition, so surely he gets some hints from both Wiktoria and Ewa. And now he can also watch what mistakes Ünal did on the Oxer number 7. Now now that we can see that the horse is going his own pace, and Ünal doesn't really have the control. Maybe now he slowed down a little bit, because as you can see, the time limit is not very hard. It's within the limit. There was only 1 athlete out of the limit with just 1 second. We had just one, Silan Aslan, having the time penalties, except for Ginetida, who had much more bigger problems. Right now we can see 1 knockdown by Ünal with 293 points, and that costs him falling down in the classification behind Puronas by 2 points. But in the parkour we will see in a while the next rider. It's Vital Müller from Switzerland. Will be riding a horse Aravalvaro, very well known, very easy horse for riding. Everybody's happy to draw him for that competition here in Drzonków. Aravalvaro is the most experienced horses in the fields of this championship, with 18 years, 18-year-old bay stallion, whom we can now see on the parkour starting with number 1, a little bit bad of place of jumping, but managed to recover that and had no knockdown. And it seems that we still have no knockdowns on the obstacle number 2, which caused quite a lot of problems, both on the riding test and in yesterday's women's competition. But it seems that people knowing that are now learning how to manage that jump. But you can see there is a problem with number 4, as we have one more mistake. It's the refusal, which costs Müller 10 points, and right now he's making circles to prepare for the second attempt of jumping that obstacle, as it is rebuilt. We've got the signal from the main referee of the riding event to allow the time to go further, as there was a need to stop the time for rebuilding the obstacle, but it's just 10 points, and we can see that Müller is going further on the parkour with no knockdown on the second attempt of jumping that Oxor number 4, and also the next 3 obstacles, which were 4 jumps, as number 6 is the double obstacle, also without the knockdown. Now we can see very closely coming to that number 8 as well as the number 9, riding Alvaro with a very slow pace, with a very short fillet, which causes a little bit of problems on that straight, where the pace is prepared by the host of the parkour and for sure riding. But we can see now a few 1 penalty point, 10 obstacle penalties for the refusal. We are watching now on the repeat, so it's 289 for Vital Müller, and the third place with 2 points of loss to Unal and 4 to Puronas, who is still leading after the ride of 5 athletes and 1 withdrawal by Agnieszka Belinskas. So the next one is on the start list is Duran Nusretoglu from Turkey, whom should ride Lilienthal, so the horse we told about being the having the worst results yesterday. And we are now waiting for Nusretoglu. So we are waiting for Nusretoglu on Lilienthal. Coming back yet to Alvaro, who had that 1 time penalty after that. After the ride of Müller, we had 1 penalty for time, which means that is the same horse, Alvaro, who had that 1 penalty for Silal Aslan yesterday. So maybe the horse who is very well experienced and very well known by the athletes within Poland and with the countries oftenly starting here. We can see that some of the athletes need to learn how to ride him surely, equally, to have him let him help yourself with when you're riding. I think we can see we have some kind of pause. As you can see, the people are being asked to leave that part of audience which is behind on the other wall of the parkour. And we've got the next athlete already. That's Duran Nusretoglu from Turkey on Lilienthal. As you know, we've got the coronavirus pandemic, so there is a strict ask for people being as few as possible within the area of competition, and they are asked to go to a different place where they can watch either from the stands prepared for a bigger amount of people or on our live broadcast coverage here on the YouTube channel of the Polish Modern Pentathlon Association. We've got the 3 first obstacles jumped by Nusretoglu and number 4 as well. So now going quite wide, that's the way it should be prepared, the line for number 5. And as you can see, Lilienthal is not making bigger problems today, but of course yesterday it was riding quite well until one mistake when it started to have the problems, and that was also the problem on the final obstacle during the ride of Chyżowa, which caused the elimination. Now you can see number 9 jumped, and the final jump might be crucial for Nusretoglu and Lilienthal, and now we've got the 300, and within the time limit it's also no time penalties. And now we've got 300 points of Dora Nusretoglu on the parkour with 788 points. He's leading in the overall classification with 11 points of advantage over the second. Right now, Titas Puronas also having the clear right. So also the well recover from Lilienthal. With Lilienthal recovering after yesterday's bad results, but the retest made clear, and now we've got another 300 points on that horse. So we're waiting for the next athlete on the parkour, and here he is. That's Alexander Shelest from Ukraine on the horse Vulcan. Vulcan had 2 rides yesterday, also under Ukrainians, Irina Kubrak and Katerina Borchukova, with the first having 14 obstacle penalties points, 2 knockdowns, and 1 knockdown by Borchukova. So both of teammates of Shelest could have told him what kind of mistakes have they done and what can he do better, and we will see if he learned the lesson of his female teammates. Maybe he will be paired with one of them in tomorrow's mixed relay. We will see when we get the starting list for that final event of European Championships. It seems that Shelest is going on Vulcan quite easily. This one is a little bit tighter turn for jump number 5, and a little bit struggling on number 6, but finishing it with no knockdown. That double obstacle of Axer, but the next Axer is definitely knocked down, and there's no question about it. It's demolished by Vulcan and Alexander Shelest, but now also a little bit of lost pace before jump number 9, which seems to be quite a common mistake now, which is quite a strange thing, as that straight is very well prepared by the constructor of today's parkour. But in the end, Shelest finishes with just 7 obstacle penalties, 293 points. With 781 points, he is 7 points. So that one knockdown cost him the place before the riding event. He is now classified 7 points behind Dora Nusretoglu. And now there comes one of the athletes from the host country, Daniel Wawrynowicz, on the horse Cardozo. Cardozo ridden yesterday by Lea Egloff, so in the end the silver medalist with 2 knockdowns, but also by the Czech Anna Rubiczkova, the gold medalist in the team with Katerina Księkowa and Kristina Trojanova, and Rubiczkova had a clear ride, so that seems to be the horse bringing a lot of luck to the athletes. And now it's ridden by Daniel Wawrynowicz, as you can see him in the military uniform, as he is the soldier of the Polish army. and now you can see that starts with clipping the rail but staying on the obstacle, and that's also the case with the second obstacle. Now the cleared third obstacle, and now preparing the line for that jump number 4, which causes a little bit of problems to the athletes, but it seems not for him that hard. And now slowly, calmly preparing, as there is a lot of time free for that time limit, and you can see how wide and on the outside he goes. Well, that was the knockdown on that B part of that double obstacle. Now, happily, no knockdown on number 7. But as you can see, there is a lot of good preparation for Wawrynowicz, and also a very well prepared pace for that straight between obstacles number 8 and 9. And now the big problem once more on that blue Oxer, being number 4 and number 10. And with being within the time limit, he has just that 7 obstacle penalty points for 1 knockdown. With 783 points overall, he is right now in the second place with 5 points of loss to Dora Nusretoglu. You can see now the knockdown on that second part of the double obstacle. Luckily, not a big problems today. We have no elimination, and we hope not to have any until the end. We've got a 3 clear rides, so it's quite a good result for the athletes from the second half of the classification behind swimming, after swimming and fencing. And now we are welcoming on parkour the next rider. It's Jakub Maleček from Czech Republic, riding the horse Maximus. Another great gelding in the field, very well known here in Drzonków. He needs to be ridden very calmly, which was ridden yesterday by Ilke Özüksel, having 2 knockdowns, and Michalina Wierzba having just 1 knockdown. So Jakub Maleček is now having quite a good horse, and we will see how will he manage to get a good result on that horse during today's competition. Quite a calm and easy ride by Maleček on Maximus, which is exactly what is needed here on the parkour. You do not need to worry about the time limit, as it is a very rare thing to exceed the time limit. As you can see now, 5 first jumps without the knockdown, but that was a bad line before that A part of that double obstacle, which caused the knockdown and costs him 7 points of penalty deducted from the maximum possible points to be get on the horse riding event. No, very slow, but I thought that it will be jumped clearly, but with his legs from behind, he gets he drops that rail from the obstacles, and it's 2 knockdowns overall, which means 14 penalties, 286 points for riding, but having quite a big advantage over Dora Nusretoglu. He is still ahead of him, leading now the classification with 4 points of advantage over Nusretoglu and 9 points over Daniel Wawrynowicz. Now we've got a little bit of break before the second round of today's competition. So after 10 rides, we have that break for Dark Diamond, Harris, Barbosa, Fala, Aravalvaro, Lilienthal, Vulcan, Cardozo and Maximus to get relaxed, to calm down after that first round of jumping. Of course, Dark Diamond doesn't need it, but it is required by the rules of modern pentathlon to go strictly within within the time shown in the schedule of the event, and in a while you can see some replays from the first round. We can see the highlights of that. So now we have that Turkish athlete Yunus Çeliskan on horse Kakan, and that's the last chance to watch Kakan today, with a beautiful jump over that obstacle number 5. And now we can compare it to the knockdown by Harris under Filip Olejnik. That's one of the athletes who had the clear ride. It's Titas Puronas, the Lithuanian. Also the clear ride had by Çeliskan. Olejnik, it was his only mistake, only knockdown which we saw on the replay. That's also the only mistake, the only knockdown of Bugra Unal, also with the back legs of the horse, as that was the case in most of the knockdowns here. Now you can see Vital Müller on Aravalvaro with those problems on the obstacle number 4. The horse refused to jump, and it needed to be rebuilt. So Müller had a chance for the second attempt of that jump number 4, which, as you can see, of course now we can see the second. For the second time we can see his knockdown, but in the next attempt he managed to clear it, as well as to do it with the same obstacle being number 10. Now we've got Duran Osretoglu, who was leading for quite a lot of time after that knockdown of Szelest, and then as well with the knockdown of Daniel Wawrynowicz, which we see now. So he was leading Nusretoglu until there came Jakub Maleczek, who had quite a lot of advantage after swing fencing. So Maleczek now had that knockdown on the number 6A, so the first part of the double obstacle, and then the back legs hitting that second part of the Axer numbered 9. So now we can just wait a little bit more for the next athlete. It will be the Turkish athlete Arda Selçuk under diamond, starting in about 7 minutes. Waiting for him, we can now see the results of the team classification, as surely the Ukrainians are leading that battle with 3 athletes in the first 4 places after swimming and fencing, and the only one between them is Bence Kardos, the Hungarian, the sole Hungarian in today's competition. The second place is held by the team of Poland, with Łukasz Gutkowski in 6th, Kamil Kasperczak in 7th, and Daniel Wawrynowicz in 11th. After the swimming and fencing, but as we know, Duran Osretoglu from Turkey managed to overtake Wawrynowicz. That will cost him just those 5 points, in fact, because 7 points for obstacle, but 2 points of advantage of Wawrynowicz before the riding gives him just 5 seconds of loss to Nusretoglu, which might be, of course, repaired during the laser run competition, which will be surely the crucial one, as it's the most interesting. Now we can see the results, of course, without the riding points yet written. We can see also the athletes from Switzerland and Lithuania, as there is only 2 of them from both countries, and the Czech Republic as well. So these are 3 nations which are not taking part in the team competition, as well as Hungary, which has, as we said earlier, the sole competitor Bence Kardos, brought here to Drzonków by this man we can see now leaving the screen, Janusz Martinek, the Olympic champion in modern pentathlon from Seoul from 1988, who is now the captain of the male national team of Hungary, as after the Rio Olympics, which finished with no medal for Hungary, the federation decided to change a little bit of structure of the Hungarian national teams, and Ákos Kallai, who was leading the youth team, was advanced to the position of captain of the team of women, while János Martinek, who we can see now back on the screen and now coming somewhere behind the results, consulting with one of his coaches of his team. Right now we can see him both wearing masks, as it should be here in Drzonków during the pandemics. János Martinek is now leading the team of men's senior national team of Hungary, and the youth team is now led by József Sloboda, who in fact didn't come here for that junior competition, as here we have the captain of Martinek. So in fact I was joking that with only two athletes, Kardos and Erdős, in the women's event, there is more coaches than athletes from the side of Hungarians here, but János said no, it's two coaches, two athletes, and he's only the captain. So that's how it works with Hungary. Of course, it differs from the possibilities of different countries. We know that some of them sent quite a big number of coaches. Some of them sent one coach, being able to train the athletes with all the competitions. Every system has its pros and cons. So, in fact, what is the most important is the result of athlete, which comes usually at the end of the competition. We still have a little bit of time waiting for the next athlete. As we said, it will be Arda Selçuk, and finally, in the fourth round of this championships, after two rounds yesterday and the first round here at the men's competition, we will see that that mare, Dark Diamond, this time driven by Arda Selçuk, Turkish athlete, being placed ninth after swimming and fencing, with the swimming time of 2:04.01 and 20 victories in the fencing ranking round, and now no victory in the bonus round. After him we will see the Swiss Maxence Hofer riding Harris, whom we saw ridden by Filip Olejnik earlier on with one knockdown. Then there will be two Poles, Kamil Kasperczak on Barbossa and Łukasz Gutkowski on Fala. Marek Grycz, the defending champion from last year, riding Aravalvaro. And the top four athletes, Hordi Berezniakow on Lilintal, Bence Kardosh on Vulcan, Władysław Czekan on Kadozo, and finally the leader, Kirim Shechmametiev, the Ukrainian, riding Maximus. So, waiting now for that final round of 9 athletes. We can also invite you for the next event, which will be laser run, the combined laser shooting and running, which will be held as well as yesterday in the indoor in the fencing hall. And of course for tomorrow's competition of mixed relay, which as far as I know will have a little bit changed schedule. So if you have the old schedule for tomorrow's competition, you can throw it away, and we will communicate to you with the new schedule today after the victory ceremony and after the technical meeting being held just after that. And now finally we've got the athlete exactly at the point when he should be Appearing on the parkour, Arda Selçuk from Turkey, the best Turkish athlete so far in the competition, riding Dark Diamond, the horse numbered 1 on the horse list, having been presented as last within with this parkour yesterday. Bad luck of being drawn by Lara Abbey, who did not start eventually in the competition, as that was also the case for today for the Lithuanian Ugnius Kabalinskas. And now we can see Dark Diamond with the knockdown on obstacle number 2, but now recovering from that with the clearances on number 3 and 4, and now a little bit of problems with the preparing that jump before number 9, and now fastening with that gallop, totally unnecessary thing, but maybe he will calm down. Well, not succeeded in calming down the Dark Diamond, but the mare who was prepared to jump is now preparing that line for that jump number 7, of course losing a lot of time, so now he will need that pace, but also unfortunately giving bad signals to the horse, leading to the second refusal, which costs him another 10 points. And there is the third refusal, this time on number 9, which means every next refusal will cost him the elimination. And he still has that jump number 9, which once haven't succeeded, but now with the clearance. And the final one, once jumped as number 4, and now as the final number 10 succeeded to jump it as well. So riding Harris, we can see that grey gelling for the second time today. Earlier on ridden by Filip Leining, which resulted in 1 knockdown. We saw it on the jump number 4, so we will see it more carefully whether this will be repeated, that mistake by Maxence Hofer from Switzerland. But we start from that dark purple obstacle sponsored by the Polish Equestrian Federation, as the equestrian competition are also held here in Drzonków quite oftenly. We've had the knockdown on that problematic yesterday and during the test, not so much today. Obstacle number 2, cleared at 3 and cleared at 4, but we'll have to see that that obstacle jumped once more, as it's also number 10. Also cleared jump 9 points, and 809 points overall gives him a lead of 17 points ahead of Jakub Maleczek, but that is also the result of the big advantage of Hofer ahead of Maleczek after swim and fence. And just to remind you that Maleczek also had 2 knockdowns, while Maxence Hofer had only 1 more. And now we can see Kamil Kasperczak from Poland on the horse Barbossa. When he got to know that he is riding this one, he was not very happy from that drawing result, but that's what he needs to do, and that's what all the pentathletes need to do. They cannot change the result of drawing, so they need to learn how to ride that horse during the 20 minutes of warm-up. And we will see how well Kasperczak learned his lesson during the warm-up before his start, and now with a little bit of problems, but managing to clear obstacle number 2, as well as quite an easy one, obstacle number 3, and now preparing the line for number 4 perfectly, and that is quite a hard moment, the need to run on the outside, but as I said earlier, there is a lot of time, no problem with time limit, and also not necessarily to speed it up, and clips the rail on the A part of the 6th obstacle, but still no knockdown for Kamil Kasperczak. coming very close, I think, to that seventh obstacle, which we do not see very well from our place of camera. There's now that straight of 8 and 9. A little bit of problems with that line before the jump, but he prepared a good pace, letting him to recover from that. And the final obstacle, as you can hear the coaches and his teammates cheering for the 300 point, the clear ride by Kamil Kasperczak, of course giving him the lead, ahead of Maxence Hofer with quite a strong lead of 21 seconds here on the riding and 2 seconds, of course counting that to the seconds of laser run. 23 points of advantage, 23 seconds of advantage of Kasperczak over Hofer, leading now the field with 6 athletes ahead of the final. And we've got the next one will be the best pole after swimming and fencing. Łukasz Gutkowski will be riding also the horse he seems to know well. It's Fala. The horse ridden yesterday, as I said, by Wiktoria Wierzba and Ewa Pydyszewska, so 2 of his female teammates. And I'm sure that another military athlete in modern pentathlon from Poland, as the traditions of modern pentathlon are coming from the military, not only here in Poland but all around the world. And now we can see him in the military uniform coming to the jump number 1, very close, but manages to do it without the knockdown. And the second one also jumped without a problem by the champion of this competition, junior under 24 European Championships here in Drzonków 2 years ago. Last year he decided not to start preparing for the Olympic season. As we know, the Olympics were postponed for the next year, so now he's preparing all his strength to that most important competition in his career. We can see now the knockdown by the 22-year-old Polish athlete, the youngest ever champion of Poland in the senior category in 2017, being just 19 years old. He beat the record of the country, and now speeding up to the obstacle number 9, a little bit with lost pace, but managed to jump it without the knockdown. And now with the final obstacle also jumped, it means only 1 knockdown, and being within the time limit, it's 7 points of penalty after that knockdown, falling him down behind his teammate Kasperczak for 1 second. So the battle for being the best host in that competition is very tight, and we will see it very interesting in the laser run, which is surely the very strong point of Gutkowski, and quite a strong point also for Kasperczak, who is of course the younger athlete, less experienced, less trained, but of course also very well titled with the bronze medal of the Youth Olympic Games in Buenos Aires in mixed relay, as well as last year's mixed relay silver here in Drzonków for the under 24 European Championships. So we've got Marek Grycz. We've got Marek Grycz on Arav Alvaro, but now I've got the news that there is an elimination by Władysław Czekan for the mistake on the warm-up parkour, for the jump in the wrong direction. Czekan will be eliminated. I think we'll need to wait a little bit for the official confirmation by the judges here at the venue, but that's the news we got here. And now we can concentrate on Marek Grycz from Czech Republic, riding Arav Alvaro. As I said, the horse very favorable by the athletes coming here to Drzonków, having, for example, during this year's national championships, the clear ride ridden by Marta Kobecka, in the end the silver medalist of the women's national championships this year for the second time in her career after the silver medal in 2018 as well. And now it's ridden by the defending champion of this competition, under 24 Junior European Championships, Marek Grycz, representing Czech Republic but having the Polish nationality. And oh, I already thought that it will be saved, but in the end that rail falls down. I think that's kind of revenge from the Polish rail on Grycz deciding to represent Czech Republic, and of course a little bit of the old rule that the walls are helping the hosts. So Marek Grycz now with the 14 penalties, being tied with Łukasz Gutkowski in the points, but falling down behind him in the classification because of the worst result of riding, means they will start hand in hand for the final battle of the laser run, just 1 second behind Kamil Kasperczak, so that will be a friendly but very hard battle between Grycz and two Poles in the laser run event, which we will see tonight. And now we are welcoming on parkour the Ukrainian Hordy Bereznyakov, riding Lilienthal, so that problematic horse from yesterday, today having the clear ride. So as you can see, the horses also recover from their mistakes as well as the athletes. That's why we care for the horses so much, and that's why the pentathlon rules as well as the equestrian rules are always adjusted to the well-being not only of the athletes but mostly of the well-being for horses, as the animals cannot defend themselves, so they need the support of people, and that's what is practiced as the legacy of the Olympic movement, of the Olympic rules created by the founder of both the modern Olympics and modern pentathlon, Baron Pierre de Coubertin. And as you can see now, Hordy Bereznyakov on Lilienthal also doing quite well, as that was also the case for Duran Nusretoglu a little bit earlier. Now coming within the line for that double obstacle with the knockdown in the second part. Now you can see that seventh obstacle was also cleared. I think there is something unprepared for the athletes. I think it might look a little bit too easy for them, and that's why they have a little bit of problems on that green oxer. We've got also the knockdown on the number 8 obstacle, which means we've got 2 knockdowns for Hordy Bereznyakov with 14 penalties. He's falling down behind Gutkowski and behind Grycz, with whom he was tied in points also before the riding. But as the tie-breaking rule says about the last event, which is accounted for the tiebreak within the positions, with the same obstacle penalties, the time, as there was no penalty, the closer to the time limit of 1 minute 19 seconds time of Marek Grycz gives him the priority, and that's Grycz being now placed in third. Yes, behind Kasperczak and Gutkowski, and now Bereznyakov in 4th place, with the 3 athletes Bereznyakov, Grycz and Gutkowski starting together for the laser run. Now we're waiting for another athlete. Yes, he's already on the parkour. Bence Kardos from Hungary on horse Vulcan. Vulcan, which was ridden earlier by Alexander Shelest, another Ukrainian, having only 1 knockdown, while yesterday that horse had 1 knockdown for Borchukova, 2 knockdowns for Kubrak. And now we can see that Bence Kardos is doing the final ride of the individual competition for that black colored gelding. Now, as you can see, The fourth jump also cleared by the Hungarian champion, defending that title from last year and this year's national championships in the senior category, while still being the junior. Now clips the rail but stays on. That's the lack which was not the case for that one rail of Marek Grycz. But also the luck is the needed thing in the sport as well as in the modern pentathlon. Now that rail on the number 8 obstacle has fallen down from the obstacle after the jump by Vulkan and Bence Kardos. And after the final jump, we can see now Kardos finishing it with one knockdown on number 8. 841 points, giving him 9 points of advantage over Kasperczak and 10 over that trio of Gutkowski, Grycz and Berezniakov, ahead of the laser run. So I think you've heard it well, but in case not, then the information on Vladislav Čekan, who has jumped in the wrong direction during the warm-up, which caused an elimination. That's of course the matter of safety on the warming-up parkour, and that's why it led to elimination of Vladislav Čekan before coming to the main parkour here, and that's a total game changer in the matter of the team gold, with Kerim Shekmametyev leading now after the swimming and fencing. He is now coming on the parkour on horse. Maximus as the last athlete today, having quite a lot of advantage over, of course, over Čekan, who was second but now is eliminated, falling down to the last place. In fact, last but one, as Agnieszka Belinskas did not start in the riding event. But of course, Shekmametyev leading with 25 points ahead of Kardos before that riding event. Now there was one knockdown of Kardos, giving another 7 points of advantage to Shekmametyev at the start of the riding event, but we'll see whether, and if so, then how many points will be deducted from the Ukrainian's result after his ride on Maximus on the parkour. First two jumps managed to clear, and that makes him quite a favorite for the medal, for the gold medal of the individual competition. I will need to count how does it look in the team classification, where only Ukrainians, Poles and Turkish athletes are counted. Now we've got the first knockdown of the Maximus and Shekmametyev duo on the obstacle number 5. Now the preparation of that jump number 7 with the very well pace, and now coming to that number 8 and the perfect pace for the obstacle number 9, which from that perspective might not have been seen very well, but it succeeded with the maybe you've heard that scream of the Ukrainian coach cheering for his athlete with one knockdown, and within the time limit Shekmametyev has 866 points, which gives him 25 seconds of advantage over Bence Kardos before the laser run, and the 34 ahead of Kasperczak and 35 ahead of Gutkowski, Grycz and Berezniakov. In a while we will have to wait for the confirmation of the results of the team classification. and we just can thank you for your attention for the riding event and welcome you on the laser run at 6 o'clock or a little bit earlier for a little bit of introduction, and at 6 o'clock we start the final event of laser run. Thank you for your attention and see you soon.